Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into the day's energy, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, the overall energy of this reading is the King of Wands. Fire signs. I'm seeing the King of Wands, an aspect of the King of Wands, as someone who's an entrepreneur, someone who is following their passions, their desires, and creating and nurturing something. So you might be an entrepreneur. There's something really wonderful about this illustration, very mystical. It feels like, so it's masculine energy of what you desire, going after what you desire. And it feels like creating what you desire. Maybe that could be a business, but it feels like you're creating what you desire. You're not just thinking about it. You're not just talking about what could be. You're bringing what you desire into the 3D, manifesting it. Wow. There's so many mystical symbolism that I'm seeing here. Feels like you have skills, different skill sets. And there's a need to pull those skill sets together and go after what you desire. Create it in this reality, not just sitting around talking about it, thinking about it, meditating on it. This is a call to action. So, interesting. Also, the Two of Cups coming out. Okay. I'm seeing the Two of Cups as masculine and feminine energies coming together. So utilizing what you have been imagining and putting it into action, taking action towards what you desire. So you bring it out of fantasy, out of imagining, out of what could be, what's the potential, not fantasy, that's a whole separate, but the potential, your desires. And oh, it's interesting how my guides are showing me this. You're not making something happen in the 3D. You are attuned to what you desire in a very balanced way within you, and you're allowing what you desire to show up. By taking action towards what you desire, you activate and start bringing in, boy, this is very manifesty type of energy. There's also something here about what you desire that is you, heart-based. There's a lot of masculine and feminine coming together in synergy. There's a lot of above and below coming together to work together. Feels like you have cleared a lot of energy in your space that's fighting within, a lot of discord within your energy, and it looks like you are bringing all your skills together and creating something that you really desire. Even if it's not a work, it's what you desire in the 3D, what you would prefer. We are each extensions of source and creators of our own reality. And so there's something profound here about what you're preparing to do, it feels like. It looks like you've cleared a lot of that discord within you, a lot of that fight or flight, black and white, bad and good. Feels like you've cleared a lot of injustice out of your space, a lot of story about injustices that might have been very active in your space, maybe your entire life. And it feels like you're allowing your past to, like, an acceptance of what's happened and allowing the past to be in the past. And taking the wisdom from what you've gone through going forward. There's been a lot of imbalance. It looks like you're, wow. It feels like you're seeing things, uncomfortable truths coming out. This feels like where there was once confusion, you're now seeing a different level of clarity. Wow. You're seeing how your story and your thoughts and have created a reality that you don't prefer. And so as the creator of your own reality, it feels like there's been a period of deconstructing of what you built up around you, who you think you are, who the people in the world, what this world is. It feels like what you created you did not prefer, but there's been confusion about how to create something different in your life, how to bring in what you would prefer, experiences that you would prefer having in your life. And so it looks like you're finding out that alignment is the key to it. Am I aligned in this moment? If not, maybe not a good time to react, respond. It's vibration first, frequency first, alignment first, and then think about whatever, and then look at this energy, and then have this conversation, and then create. It feels like you might be in a time of healing right now, resting, relaxing, recovering, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere where we're experiencing deep winter type of energies. You might be rotting in a good way and preparing for this next season. Feels like there's a realignment that's taking place at this time. Wow. All right, let's keep going. The hidden blessings is the Seven of Swords in reverse. Something is coming to light. This feels like around defenses. You might have had a life and experiences within your life that have created, because you've been around toxic systems, maybe raised in toxic systems, and that's all you've known. You might have toxic maladaptive strategies, things that you need to see about yourself. And these are uncomfortable truths about how you've participated in that environment. It feels like there are things that are coming up to be seen within yourself that will, if you are ready, if you can have very uncomfortable truths about yourself, if you can see yourself from a different vantage point, not yours, not justifying, not protecting, not defending your point of view, but if you could see from another's point of view, especially if there's been many people close to you that have tried to get you to see something about yourself that you can't see. You're not, I can't see it. Maybe you've even defended and protected yourself from seeing uncomfortable truths about yourself. Maybe that's also a part of the toxic environment that you've been in. If this is the case, you probably have, as a reflection, people in your life who can't hear you when you are trying to explain to them that they have hurt you. You might have a match there. This isn't coming up, and I'm not describing it so you can be bad or punished. This is coming up because it's time to perceive this about yourself, to not be so divided within black and white, but to recognize as a part of humanity that mistakes happen, where you have participated unwittingly, maybe unconsciously, to someone else's suffering. And so it feels like what we're moving into, shifting into, is a potential to see things from, it feels like we're rising out of the lower chakra of fight or flight, getting out of protective mode, and recognizing your own part in your suffering, not as a punishment, not as you are bad, not as anything like that, but as a way of liberation, to free yourself. Once you can own and make space for your mistakes, the way you have unwittingly caused suffering in this world, then you can be more trusted with others. People can communicate with you in a much easier way. It also looks like it helps you let go of, these are subtle energies and profound at the same time. It feels like when you can recognize how you have caused suffering in others, maturely, holding space for that discomfort and understanding, it softens and makes it easier to forgive others who have caused great suffering within you. Not so you allow people in or anything like that, but just so you can let go, so you don't have to carry the anger, the bitterness, the resentment, because that's taking up bandwidth. It's blocking your creative abilities. By holding on to a storyline that you have done nothing wrong. I have done nothing wrong. It really, of all humanity, you've done nothing. I'm calling myself out. I'm feeling this is it feels like there's defense mechanisms, and it's okay to make mistakes. I think the issue is when we resist, that we've harmed someone else, and we haven't had others to show us how to maturely accept accountability and responsibility. And we don't get to decide if, well, that wasn't that, and I didn't, and justify and blah blah. That's that activity is disallowing of, oh my gosh, I am sorry, I did not mean that, I have affected someone and harmed someone, and there's a new way opening up. So, whew. All right, what you're leaving behind is the Star card. This is Aquarian energy. This is very healing. It feels like this Aquarian energy. Oh, Pluto has moved into Aquarius now. And so we're leaving behind the, what is it, Pluto and Neptune in Pisces, where it's just hidden, a lot of confusion. Wow. The Star card and Ace of Wands in reverse as well. Okay. Interesting. So we're also leaving behind not letting new ideas in. What I'm perceiving is that there's where do I start? So we are each of us, extensions of Source. Not just humans. Conscious energies, whether we can see or not see, are all extensions of Source. We are creators of our own reality. And we have been stuck in a feedback loop. Stuck in a lack of creativity. Our story is stuck. If we cannot perceive our part in things, even though our reflection keeps showing us a match, someone, it feels like there's an opportunity to see what that is so we can resolve this story in our space and create a new story. The new story is up to you, but it's different than this. If you let it, it's different than the story you've told about being hurt, being victimized. That from your past can really create the fuel for what you want to create going forward if you let it. All right, moving on. How to get the most of the energies is the Ace of Swords in reverse. Wow, we've got two aces, but they're both in reverse. Lies and deception. Okay, so these are foundational lies that we tell ourselves, that we thought what our reality was. There's a need to let the story die down and just be yourself, be aligned, so you can allow a new story to come in, a new perspective. Feels like the more that you can own and have about yourself, uncomfortable truths, the more you can't change what you don't perceive. And if you don't recognize uncomfortable truths about yourself, then it makes reality really confusing. It makes getting along with others very confusing. They're tower. They're false realities that are ready to collapse. And we're going to have a lot of towers. We've been having a lot of towers as a collective. So the story of the tower is the two people created this false reality. The tower, they built the walls of the tower around them and created this separate reality from truth. Eventually, Source comes in and explodes that reality. It's done for the people, so they don't continue to live in a false reality. And it feels like this is happening for you. Uncomfortable truths, seeing yourself from people you've had difficulty with, seeing yourself from their vantage point, not so you can defend your point of view or justify, but so you can soften, care about how they feel as a being, as also us, an extension of Source. There's this activity, and if you're still hanging in there, these are tough messages. So if you're still hanging in here, it feels like you're really going through this right now, or you've gone through something similar and you're wanting to figure out the way out. Where's the light in this? Why is this happening? Why is this so uncomfortable? You're letting go of toxic systems, deconstructing. There's a recognition, if you've been in devil energy, if you've been in toxic systems with narcissists, with codependents, if you're codependent, if you've been abused and neglected and harmed and taken advantage of, that when you are in those toxic systems chronically, of course you're going to have maladaptive strategies and have some of those energies, those tendencies. How can you not? And so just owning, okay, I probably have some toxic traits myself. So part one, when you recognize, oh, this person I'm with is toxic. Holy crap. Reconfiguring, I'm now seeing them differently. I'm now seeing how I tolerated and chose to stay with someone who was treating me poorly. A lot of times people get stuck there in that story. And it feels like people are wanting to move past just that. Okay, I now recognize I tolerated abuse and neglect from someone close. I'm now protecting myself from that. I now perceive and are protecting myself. When you get to a point where you're safe, where you've done enough healing, then there's another part of the story. Healing yourself, healing from the trauma that was created towards you, and then you keep going, and then you find your toxic stuff from being in those toxic systems. This message is not for someone who's still in a toxic system or still trying to heal from the woundedness that has happened to you, because it will feel like someone is attacking you. So this is a certain level. Not that you're behind, you're right where you need to be, but I'm hoping I'm getting this message across clearly. Okay. How to get the most of this. There's a need to recognize There's this real protective energy when you do come out of that system, when you finally realize that you've been taken advantage of, you get real protective and all the wounds come out. And that is fine if that's the level, if that's a comfort level and that's good enough. It feels like this message is for people who want to move past that, who want to keep healing past this, to understand on a deeper level what's going on. What could help is quieting. I've seen in a lot of personal readings, a lot of projections, and people who come into the reading space, and the way they relate is through stories. They can't see a bigger picture. They need to tell the whole story of what they've gone through. And it's hard for them to perceive any other perspective. I've been there too. I've been there in where I can't relate when I'm so wounded and I'm still in it. I can just tell the story. Feels like there's an opportunity here, if you're stuck in story, to what's the theme of what I went through that I can translate in a succinct way. If I haven't been able to find out the themes of what I was exploring, then I'm still in the story. Healing helps you get out of the story. Let the story die down, because you are a creator of your reality. If you don't like that story, it needs to die down if you want to tell another one. Okay, moving on. What's supporting you is the world in reverse. Repeating cycles are supporting you. If you've been repeating cycles, if you've been recreating the same, similar, maybe different people, but similar type of stories, similar dramas, then you're the common denominator. When you shift your story, when you shift your energy, then you will have a different story. Okay, so in Leaving Behind, the star came out and then the star reverse came out. Your things are switching, and now in what's supporting you, we have the world reverse to the world card. Oh, and Four of Wands. Both of these are portal cards. And both of them, the way they showed up, the people are leaving an old repetitive cycle, the world reverse. It feels like these people are leaving this behind them. So it looks like you're turning things around and going to a much happier place. There's a need to tell a different story. A need to see both sides, all sides. It's not black and white. There's a bigger story at hand. It feels like a lot of you are ready for a new version, a new chapter, a whole new book. And it feels like the part of what you're cleaning up is seeing your side of it, owning. As a creator, it's good information to understand what has caused so much confusion, where you have been unconscious. A lot of shadow work. not to find your shadow and bad, bad you, bad shadow. Not, and that's horrible, but to be like, wow, I have created suffering too. I have suffered, and I've in my suffering have created suffering for others. And how can I soften? How can I love those parts of me and accept those parts of me that make space in my reality, in how I feel about myself, so I can love all parts of myself? When you reject your shadow, when you reject parts of yourself as and deem them as unlovable or bad, then you are separated within. There's this divide within, and it might be showing up in your reality. People split as well. So, all right. Moving on to what to be mindful of. High Priestess. Okay. On top of the healing work and a different layer of healing and shifting energies, leaving toxic environments to create the world you prefer, it looks like you're also opening up to new skills and talents that you have, not just your five senses. A lot of you who come in for personal readings have mad skills. They might be less developed, but it feels like I'm talking to somebody who's just drawn to energy work, drawn to mysticism, something mystical. Some of you are very telepathic. I'm just going to go down. More clairvoyant than you think. See things more. Some of your clairvoyance has been blocked by telling a story the same way, telling instead of allowing the story to go and clearing the projections. Some of you are looking to learn how to translate what your perceptions are in a way so you can communicate your feelings and emotions in a productive way. That feels like emotional maturity, how to communicate your feelings, how to express them in a way that is not hurtful for others, that so you can express and move through uncomfortable emotions without creating more suffering. Getting back to the overall energy of this reading started even around mysticism and maybe even around your work or creating, allowing more magical energies into your work, enjoying what you do, heart-centered. There's something about unlimited potential here. You've needed to clear some blocks and shadows, to clear some belief systems that don't work for you, so you could create what you would prefer going forward. There's something here about keeping some things to yourself. If you are having openings and you're trying to relate to people who are not having the same experience, if you receive information, I'm seeing some of you might, when you open up to new perceptions, there's a need to validate that and have others validate that. But if it's not a part of the people around you, their experience, if they're not ready for that. It might be very invalidating trying to get people to understand what you are perceiving. Maybe finding groups of people who do understand, who can relate to what you're talking about, not trying to get others who just can't perceive what you're talking about. Part of this is learning how to validate your own experience, learning how to validate, I am perceiving this. I had this dream that, and to act on that information's for you. One way you can validate your own experience is take it out of the I'm experiencing this and start acting on it. Start taking little steps towards, oh, I got this intuitive hit to go here to do this. There we go. It's your guidance system. It isn't about convincing others to perceive your amazingness. It's so you can steer. Instead of, it looks like we're leaving structures, belief systems that you have to, as a soul, fit into. So it feels like we're in a space, a time and space, where our reality has been really controlled, and we've been taught away from our own power, our own empowerment, our own attunement, purposefully. So the best way to change this is to attune to your energy, find yourself in this. I'm also getting at this time there might be a need to find a savior, someone outside of yourself to lead you. And I'm just getting, you do you, but I feel like the calling's coming from inside the house. How to lead yourself, how to empower yourself, how to be your own savior. All right. Great place to leave this. Oh, lovely. On the top of the deck is the Ace of Pentacles. So I'm going to end the reading here. If you want to continue, I'm going to do an extended reading on Patreon. The link's in the description box. It says extended reading here. You follow that link to part 2. I'm halfway through the reading. In part 2, I'll be looking at health, relationships, creativity, new opportunities, and career and finance. When I switch over to Patreon in these readings, it's a smaller group of people, and someone commented recently that it feels like a master class. A lot more psychic tools come out, and a lot more suggestions. So anyway, if that entices you, if you're not interested, do not go over. This is just if you feel that this is right, if you attune that it's correct for you. So, all right, see you later. See you over on Patreon. Bye.